can hear me.
Yes. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good
All
morning,
right.
Rick.
Good morning. All right. So Monday, hopefully this will give you some motivation and help you be more productive this week. We wanted to go over a little bit. Lisa, if you can go ahead and do the PowerPoint. Everybody have a good week last week? Anybody have any wins, any contracts, any listings signed? Steve, didn't you? I thought you got one under contract.
I got two being pre-approved, so
That's
a win for me.
That's definitely a win. Definitely a win. Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah,
I got one under contract last week and one the week before.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
And
I got one under contract, Rick. This is Tanya.
hey, Tanya, that's awesome.
yeah. We have one that we're doing a listing presentation on tomorrow, and we're gonna list their house and help them buy as
That's
well.
good. Good deal. Good deal. So as we see, real estate is working still. Even with these rates. That's great. Good to hear. And hopefully this week will be a productive week for everybody. So all right. So last week we talked about just why the CRM is just the foundation of your business. If you ever want to scale, even if you ever want to retire one day, the CRM is your book of business that is something you can utilize to for referrals. If you slow down, you can keep on generating leads and generating referrals and refer those out to other agents as you slow down. So and everything we talk about when we talk about lead generation, when we talk about getting past clients to refer you, your CRM is one of those foundations that we use to help that. So we talked about choosing the CRM. Obviously, with this brokerage, you got two different CRMs to choose from. You got one, in my opinion, is almost like a digital Rolodex. Does allow you to email. And then, of course, KB Core, a little more robust, where you can text, you can video, you can make phone calls right from there. So a lot more, and you get to see what your database is doing in the CRM if they're opening the emails and responding to you. So and also last week we talked about setting up your CRM. So most of you probably have already done that, but just right now, if it just seems too overwhelming, just make sure you know how to add a lead or a person in your database, how to set them up on the search, and then worry about all the other advanced features later, and just do those things one at a time. And then actually use your CRM. So next database or next slide, Lisa. So what we're gonna talk about today, while Lisa gets the next slide up, is actually categorizing your CRM, putting those people where they need to go, and ways to do it. There's no necessarily one right way or wrong way, but whatever helps you remember what to do, what as far as if you're breaking that down to your buyers or whatever, we need to know how to categorize them. So your main categories obviously are your sellers, your buyers, past clients, and sphere of influence. Because you're going to market to each one of them a little different. You're going to create the relationship possibly a little different. In other words, you're probably not going to send your past clients, homes on a home search. You're probably not going to send your buyers a market update. Where your sellers, that's what you're sending, that's what you're doing. But then some of these things you send out are going to be categorized across all of them. For instance, if you send something out for Halloween, or last week we talked about maybe setting up a list of all the different pumpkin patches or fall festivals going on, you would send that across the whole spectrum of your database. But just setting those up and remember, set them up how you would remember and what works for you. And then next slide, Lisa. But we're going to actually break those and categorize them down even more. So under your sellers, of course, market updates, you could have for their neighborhood. And buyers, you may have a buyer that, and then need to categorize them even farther down. Have they been pre-approved? Are they working on their credit? So you're sending them targeted information that is geared to them. So if you have somebody that needs to work on their credit, they're a buyer and they're opening your emails. Well, I would be sending them things on how to get work on their credit, things that help them. Active buyers, to me, if they are opening your emails and with the new property alerts and they're engaging through that, that's probably enough, except for your other general stuff that you send out. But always keep in mind, however you categorize them, keep in mind the ones you haven't met, the ones you've met with, and the ones you're currently working with. Okay. So always have those in mind. Now, if you're taking the 100 days class with us, the bullseye that you see there, the ABCD. What I like about that is as you lead generate, your people that come in that are not raising their hand, they're not engaging, they're not doing anything, just keep them in D. There's no reason. I mean, you can clean your database up if you want, but if you just put them in D and they're just getting those general emails and that you're sending out, and also maybe some property alerts, you never know when they're going to raise their hand. So we talked last week. We heard from two people that had somebody in that basically that D category, didn't open emails for a long period of time, and within a year, and I think Steve said 2 years on one, raised their hand. And so you never know. So I don't care if you got 1,000 in there. There may be 2 or 3 that raise their hand every year, as long as you're still sending them things of value. To me, your C's are the ones that are not raising their hand necessarily, but they are opening emails. They're not talking back with you. They're not answering your texts. They're not answering your phone calls, but they are opening your emails. Your B, those are more of those people that are that if you said, hey, would you like to go see this house this weekend? No, we're not ready. They're just kind of that they're ready to buy. They want to buy. They're talking to you. They're actively looking, or they're actively talking about selling their home. That's going to be your B's. Your A's are the ones that we're really going to concentrate on. Those are the ones you're going to send the handwritten letters to. You're going to make phone calls to. So if you got 100 A's, which is our goal in the 100 days class, is to get 100 contacts that are A's. You should be even taking those down even farther, maybe calling 5 to 10 a week and just seeing how they're doing, checking in on them. Because the A's are going to transact earlier. Plus, your A's are going to be the ones that refer you. They're the ones that you've already rented enough space in their mind that when somebody's talking about wanting to buy or sell a house, they say, hey, you need to call my person. They're your advocates. You should be even taking some of them out for coffee every now and then, or lunch, and regularly talking to them. They're going to be your best people to help you be more productive and have those extra clients that they refer you to. And remember, every time they refer one to you, and you do a great job with them, they're also, those new people are going to be, in your A's. So your past clients should be in your A's. So as you scale this thing mushrooms and mushrooms, as you do a good job and as you close them, your A list should get very large as you grow in the business. So I'm just curious, if you had to look at your database now, how many A's do you guys have right now, do you think? Don't be shy. All right, everybody. Great. Angela, how many A's you got in your database?
I would say probably like 35, maybe 30, 35.
And out of those 35, how many do you think would refer you today if they had the chance?
At least 28.
Okay.
Probably all of them, but some of them, may have family or somebody's that's in real estate now. So
Yeah. Aaron, I know you've been working on your database and you had quite a few people, I don't think, as I remember, you just didn't have them really segment and categorized very well. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And how many do you think of in your database? Start going through it more. How many you think will be in your A's?
50.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those people, so if we just take 5 a week, make phone calls, and take another 5 and write letters to, every 5 weeks, those people are getting touched on a personal level. So don't, obviously we want to concentrate and work mostly on those A's. And so figure out who those A's are. If you got 500 in your database and don't have them categorized, go back through them and let's look at the ones you've done business with. These are the ones that you could call up and say, hey, this is Marla, and they would know who it is, or and that way, that kind of gives you an idea of what that A is. If you can always say, hey, they know who I am, they should be in your A category. Your D's don't know who you are, except for they're getting an email every now and then that has your name on it. But your A should really know you. You should have a relationship of some sort with them. Concentrate on those. Spend most of your time there, and don't forget, ask for the referral. When you send those letters, remember, if you took 100 days class, we put a sticker on the back of the envelope that says, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. So ask for them. I think most agents, a lot of times, that's one thing they never do is actually ask for the referral. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to, a lot of people put it in their signature list. At the bottom, I see, your referrals are your best compliment to me or whatever, something like that. But ask for them. People will give you referrals. Like I say, that's all I've done over the last probably 7 years now. Is just referrals. Leads are a small portion of our business. Remember, as those leads come in, they're gonna start at D. We're gonna work them. We're gonna send stuff to them of value, and we're gonna try to work them up in and get them into that B and A category because that's where your business will be. Next slide, please. All right, so other tags that we'll put in other ways to categorize these clients is that, let's take a buyer, for instance. They may want to be in a certain area, a certain subdivision, so obviously we can tag those. House size, land, they want a large yard, and then of course price point. The reason I like doing that and I like categorizing them even farther, a lot of times I've probably sold, in the last 5 years, probably 7 or 8 for sale by owners. And when I drive in a certain neighborhood and I see a for sale by owner, I can always go back to my database and see who would meet that meet that category of that house, or what those specifications are for those houses. And I'll send them a text and say, hey, I saw a house in whatever subdivision that may be of interest to you. It is a for sale by owner. Would you like me to research it more? Would you like it? You'd be shocked. I mean, how many people say, yes, could you check on that home for me? So for sale by owners, as you see those signs, look where they're at, look at the subdivision. If you've done everything what you're supposed to do in that database, you can now go back and of course in KB Court hashtag. So let's just say it's whatever, we'll say Blackman Farms. I use that one a lot. Let's say it's Blackman Farms and the house comes available. You can go search your hashtags or your category or your tag of Blackman Farm and see all the people in your database that was interested in a home in Blackman Farm. Now you can actually text them and say, I know of a home. It's not on the market on the MLS. Is this something you think you'd be interested in? You're just creating conversation, and it's another touch point, and it shows. And I like text because it's a little more personal than just the emails that we send out. It looks like an email blast. A lot of people don't open it. Obviously, video is better, and obviously, phone call. Don't ever be afraid to pick up the phone and reach out. That's another thing. Once you got them categorized and break it down and tag them even to a little more specific area. The other nice thing about that is you can, every now and then, if you see, let's just say, somebody in your B list that is actually opening emails and looking, every now and then, and I know Steve does it, told me the other day he did this, every now and then, just take one house that was emailed to them and text it to them and with a personal message. So the ones that are active in the Bs, we're trying to move them to A. So look at those, look at they're opening them, they're staying engaged, maybe just on the internet, they're not talking back, they're not answering your emails, and text them one house, hey, this did you see this house? It looks like it was sent to you the other day, but it seems like it meets your everything that you had said that was important in a home or whatever, and try to get them to reach back out. Go ahead, Steve.
Rick, you just matter of fact, you just said that. I texted a lady who looked at a house. I just texted her this morning before the Zoom meeting started. She looked at this house 7 times off the KV Core, and it just dropped the price 25,000. I just texted her. She just now responded back that she was going to send it to her husband just now.
There you go. So yeah, and especially in today's market, that brings up a good point. Today's market, when you see a house drop, that's a reason to reach out. Say, hey, this home was sent to you last week. Just want to let you know there's a price drop. Pick 4 or 5 of those to actually text and send to them, and be a little more personal. So if you got the if you're using KV Core, look in your database and look at the people that are actively opening homes. Look what area they're in, and then go to the MLS and see which homes have had price drops, and send those to them in a text. So that's one of the action items this week. Is I want you to find 4 or 5 in your database that has been opening the emails. They're not responding to you, but they're opening emails. Then find homes that meet their criteria and text it to them with a price drop. Just announce it and just say, hey, I got time this week to show you this home if this interests you. There's just a $5,000 price drop or $10,000 price drop. You're just creating conversation again, and that's a good reason to be reaching out to them. And if you get one that responds out of those 5, that's a win. So Steve, I'm just curious, how long has this person been in your database, and have you even met them?
No, they're from out of state. They've been in my database about 2 months.
Okay, good. So that's just another contact point. Anybody else got anything that they would do or have done? So we could even do this with expires. When we see a home go expired, I have a search set up on RealTrax, and I get alerted every time there's expired. The only reason I do that, because if an expired happens and it's a home we actually looked at, I may call that client, see if they're still interested. Then if that home doesn't get relisted, I would call the owner themselves. So you can get that information right from CRS Tax in our MLS, and call those people or send them a letter. Hey, we looked at your home about a month ago. Are you still interested in selling? Or hey, I've got people, and of course we'll get into that more when we start talking about listings and getting listings. That's on another Monday. But that's being notified of those expires, being notified of those price drops. You can do that through RealTrax and keep on top of it through there. So I highly recommend doing that. And then, especially if you got 3 or 4 people, let's just say in Murfreesboro, and they're looking at this price point, go ahead and put those price drop notifications in so that you can text them, and you can do that while you're out and about. Once they come in, go to your KV Core app, find the people that are, let's say, in the 400,000 range, and 400,000 home just dropped to 375, and text that one right from your KV Core app to those people. So, next slide. Okay. So why is it important? Why is all this important? Again, we're trying to scale, and you just can't scale unless you have something to keep you on track and accountable. And because if you had 10 people you're working with, and you don't know if they're opening emails, you just got them on searches, you don't know these things are happening, you're not going in your database every morning and looking, and checking to see if they're engaged. Your job now is to get them engaged. It's so, and it's so important right now, especially in this market. We're having to work harder, obviously, with the way the market is. But remember, there's things we can't control. We can't control the interest rates. We can't control the inventory necessarily. So let's concentrate on things we can control. We can control working in our database. That's why this time that I know it seems bad, but if you are working in your database and building it right now, as soon as we get to a point where people are really wanting homes again, when rates drop in the sixes, they'll say, or the fives, once it kind of levels out, and good news starts hitting again, because we know it's going to happen. I've seen real estate go up and down over the years, probably 4 times. And you want to be at the ready so that you're not, oh, the market's great. Let me get my database in order. That's not the time to do it. You want to have rented enough space in their mind so that when they're ready, you're the only person they think of. And if you don't do that, they're going to think of somebody else. And so, as we get to the point where we're actually emailing them stuff, we're providing those things. You know, I'll let you know when they're in the broker hub, that you can go grab an email. But they're going to be things of value. They're not going to be, and then obviously broker in Bullseye in the marketing hub there. We've got plenty of things there for you to use and send out and do social media posts on. So let's really work in there. Let's really get every morning, spend maybe 30, 45 minutes, an hour in your database, see who's overnight opened emails, see if there's some message that you can send them. If they're really, in KV Core's got a little flame up there. If you see the little flame where they're a hot lead, pick up the phone and call them. There's no reason not to call them. So I know some of you went to Broker Open with Matt and Dr. Ben. Wanted to let you know Thursday their topic is 4 ways to power through this next market, which again is on everybody's mind as agents, and especially if you're full time. This is how you feed your family. We're all a little worried, but let's concentrate on the things you can do. So try to be there on Thursday. It's about an hour maybe long, and agents from all over get on, but it's free. They'll give you a chance to answer some or ask some questions. And remember, last week, if you missed it, it's actually on. Once you sign up for Broker Open, 5 ways to win more listings. That was last week's, and it was a good one. We want, obviously, listings are great. They're a little tougher to sell right now in our market, and but still they're great, and it's a way to get buyers. So if you got a listing, you should at least get 10, 15 people in your database just from that one listing. Yes, there's a little bit of marketing money that you spend with ads, but 50, 60 bucks should at least get you 10, 15 people new in your database. Again, don't forget open houses. If you want to do open houses, I think you can reach out just in our office alone and find enough listings and ask those agents if you can do an open house. So I've got one if somebody wants to do it. It's an empty home. I don't know if anybody else out there's got a listing that they would like to offer up for open houses, but definitely I've heard mixed reviews on open houses. I think my last one only had one of our agents do it, and only one person came through. So it's just a different market we're in, and of course we're in the normal slowdown of the fall. So let's concentrate again on those things that we can do, which is making more connections and getting them in your database. Taylor said she had 6 at her last open house. So, get them in your database, though, Taylor. She's pleading the fifth. So, all right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anybody want to share anything? Any more wins?
Rick, he's talking about that one lady who's in our database for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she's and I've been back and forth with her every so often. Well, I went over her house yesterday, met her son, so I'm trying to get him pre-qualified now.
Okay. Good deal. It's amazing to me how you do. Again, this is here. Amazing to me how if you do a good job and you create that connection and you show value in the transaction, how many of those and everyone here that's done deals should be able to tell us that they've had, that, hey, you need to help my son or my friend or whatever. So it just blossoms. And I know if you're new, it's hard to get started. But once you close, 5 to 10, you should be getting one or two just with those 10, you should be getting one or two referrals every year if you're reaching out to them and if you're sending them things. So um,
Well,
I know a lot.
with this lady here, Rick, I showed her a house 2 years ago, but I had her in the KB core, and I would text her, at Christmas or holidays, I hope you have a great holiday or something like that.
Yep. So, yep, texting's good. Again, don't forget in KB Core, you got the video feature. So you can send simple videos to them right from your dashboard. Um, and you can say, hey, that's another thing. We talk about sending these people a home that just dropped. That's something you can get on that video and say, hey, I just texted you a home. Let me know if you didn't receive it. Or you could call them and say, hey, Joe Buyer, I just sent you a home through text. Did you get that? Just create a conversation. And I think so much we're so worried about making those phone calls. But people generally, if they're opening emails, if they're truly looking for a house, they want to talk. They want to hear about the market. So make sure you're up to date on the market around here. Uh, Make sure you have a general knowledge of the interest rates. And it just staying top of mind. That's true. Simple touches to stay top of mind. And I call it renting space in their head. So you always want to be their realtor. So
I had a past client reach out that I've kept in touch with, but she reached out yesterday and is going to be looking to sell within the next couple of months. So I invite them to everything I do, and I comment on their Facebook pages, stuff like that, so that I can stay in their mind. But yeah, so they reached out and they'll be looking to sell out in Christiana.
one thing I do with those that are on down, yeah, we're going to sell this spring or whatever. I go ahead and send them a marketing update for their area, so they're getting updated every month of what's being what's coming on the market or what's sold. So just to keep them, so that when you do talk to them, their mind isn't back a year ago when homes were a whole lot more money. So they're being conditioned at the price of today and what today's market is. And so many times, if you've been on a listing appointment lately, you've seen it and you've heard it. A home that's $350,000 now was 425 a year and a half ago. That's what they still think it's worth. Well, my neighbor told us a home sold for 425 and it's smaller. Yeah, but it also sold a year ago. So with those market updates, it's conditioning them to see what today's prices are. So it makes that conversation a little bit easier. And the other thing is, I know we're getting a little off topic, but make sure that you set the expectation up front, especially today. Hey, market is going to be on the market a while. 1, 2, don't expect somebody to come in with an offer and ask for closing cost. We're seeing that so much. Expect a low ball, that way when it happens, they don't get so offended. And you want to make sure that they know that that any offer that comes in is just the door being open for negotiate and hopefully get to where you want to be happy with. So set that expectation up, because so many times I'm hearing from other agents that, hey, my clients are mad because it's been on the market for 3 weeks. Well, pretty good right now. So why are you worried about 3 weeks? I mean, when we're seeing 60 days, it's no 90 days, and lots of expireds out there. And pricing it right and condition. I think I saw somebody put it across condition. It's so important today. If you're not going to get your home in the best condition for that neighborhood, then expect a lower price or expect to be, priced under market. It's just the way it is right now. So, in fact, I had the conversation yesterday. Home that I've got listed, it's worth every bit of what they're asking, the 344, but not in condition. And I, hopefully they're going to let me do a price drop, or they're going to go in there and freshen up the home. So, and the feedback's shown that. So, they know from the feedback, and feedback is so hard to come by now. Agents just don't like to give it. So make sure that if they haven't given feedback in 24 hours, give them a call. Thank you for showing. Could you give me some feedback to help my sellers? Is there any price? If they say condition, this is what I always ask them. They say, well, the price for the condition of the home is too high. Okay, great. What price do you think your clients would be interested at that condition? If you've got people that aren't willing to, and a lot of people aren't in the place to be able to put new floors in and paint, all that. But don't forget, we got options there. You got Curbio that does it before and then bills you after. So there's ways to even get through that. All right. Well, good conversation. Anybody got anything else they'd like to share? Really excited to hear the wins and that people are working. There are deals to be made. Real estate usually never stops. Maybe fewer and fewer transactions. We just got to know how to go out there and get those fewer and fewer transactions and start trying to take some market share. And you do that again by just letting people know that you're an agent, and you got to keep up with the market. You got to keep up with your database. Just show them that you're the expert, and so when they're ready, they're calling you. So this week, I want y'all to go to RealTrax. I want you to set up alerts on price drops and try to stay within the areas that you've got clients looking, and then make an effort to send a text. When you see a price drop, send a text to those people that are in that price point and in that area, even if it's close. Do that. So the other thing about price drops is, remember, if somebody says, well, we can only do 375 and there's a 400 listing, it never hit their email because it was above where your search was. Well, once it hits 375, that's a great time to send that to them on a personal. So let's see if everybody can do 5 of them at least this week, text or phone calls about the price drop. And let's see if we get to celebrate anybody's win. And so a win to me would be they contact you back, they're talking to you, and possibly even you've got them in to get pre-qualified, or you are actually showing them home. That's the goals for this week. Okay. I hope everybody has a productive week. Happy Monday. I think fall is here. It's cool enough outside. So enjoy your week. Let me know if you need anything. Just give me a call. Okay. And don't forget, broker open on Thursday. Y'all get an email about it. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week. And if you're on Brokerpreneur, Broker Open on Thursday, I'll see you there.
See ya.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya.